Yo. Welcome back into the ChrisBeCappinn Show, man. A little late night edition. It's a bunch of games on the board for tomorrow. I think it's 9 games in the NBA, and I figured I might as well do an MLK look ahead because I do think some of these lines are going to change overnight. Some of these lines are changing already, so it's going to be better to go ahead and, get a couple of these games knocked out. There's a couple of things I'm looking at. I made one bet already. Really close to pulling the trigger on about 3 more. So I'm going to give you guys the bet that I made, and we'll talk through 5 of the games. A couple of the games I could care nothing about tomorrow. Like I haven't even looked at. Utah and New Orleans and Chicago and the Clippers. And I think it's one more other game that I just – Dallas and Charlotte. Like I didn't go through those games. So I'll do a full show. We'll do the full show tomorrow as always, but it'll be a little later. But some of these are matinee start times. We got games starting at around noon Eastern Standard Time tomorrow. So let's jump into it, man. No recap for today. No, I didn't play anything in the NBA. Took the day off. Glad I did too. And then NFL, I gave the picks out on the channel, but on the show earlier today, but didn't play didn't send it out to the members. The Jalen Hurts under on his pass attempts. That was another winner. Yes, another winner today in the game between the Eagles and the game between the Eagles and the Rams. So that was the only thing that I played today. Ended up being a winner. Go through real quick couple comments, and then we'll jump into it. I know people in the Discord already talking about the games as well. It's a lot of looks on the board for today, man. I think it's a good day to get paid tomorrow, MLK Day. Shout out to MLK. Shout out to his family. We thank you, MLK, for all you've done, especially for brown and black people like myself. Just trying to, make the world a better place, man. Shout out to MLK. Mark says, first, laugh out loud. Hey, Chris and crew. Hope everyone had a good Sunday. What's up? Daniel says, what's up, Chris? Missed the show yesterday. Hopefully we can make some more money tomorrow. GLB Best says, love the nightcap. What's up, everyone? Let's get some money. Go says, my first night show. Let's get it, man. Shout out to the Wahoos. UVA in the building. GLB Best says he got 5 NBA plays locked in already for tomorrow. He dropped them off in the court. G-Lo says Discord gang. Surprise. Chavez says, Saturated says, I should have listened to you about my Bulls. Boy, the Bulls, man, like you can't beat Portland. I'm looking at it right now. I got the game, both of the games pulled, all 3 of the games pulled up on my iPad right now. I see them down by 13 to the Portland Trailblazers on the second leg of a back-to-back. They gonna get smoked tomorrow by the Clippers, but probably beat the Clippers. So yeah, you just stay away from them, man. You just stay away from teams like them, like the Lakers. Just teams that you can't trust, man. What's up, Jacob? Appreciate you for tapping in. What up, Brim? Says late night crew. What up, Derek? Says appreciate the work. We're gonna jump into it, man. Try to make this show a little bit quicker today. So I will talk to you guys about jaXon as I always do. jaXon is your AI sports betting buddy. Check it out. 50% discount code in the description of the video. Also, if you want access to the Discord, the email address is in the description of the video as well, and it's free. So just send me an email, request the access, and I'll send you guys the access to the Discord as well. All right, so I'm looking at Pistons and Rockets for tomorrow. I asked jaXon about the spread. jaXon tells me, creates me a little chart with the ATS teams, the ATS records for both teams this season. It says that Detroit 7-1-1 in their last 9 games in Houston. Houston 14-6 at home. And then ATS last 10. You got Detroit 7-3, Houston 6-4. ATS as an underdog, 11-10 for the Pistons. ATS as a favorite, Houston 14-6. And in recent form, Detroit 7-3 last 10 games, Houston 8-2 last 10 games. It says the Pistons have been strong ATS in Houston, covering 7 of the last 9 meetings in the Toyota Center. The Rockets have been dominant at home, 14-6 against the spread. Has another chart for me with stats. I got points scored, points allowed, rebounds, turnovers, 3-point shooting, all of that stuff. And I didn't even ask for all that. It tells me that the Rockets excel in defense, ranking 4th in points allowed and 1st in rebounds per game, which could be a key factor in controlling the game. The Pistons have been solid offensively, but struggling with turnovers, ranking 22nd in turnovers over the last 5 games. I'm sorry, 22nd in turnovers per game. So the Pistons turn the ball over a lot. Rockets probably be able to take advantage of that, is what jaXon is telling me. The Pistons are coming off a 125-121 loss to the Phoenix Suns, where they've allowed Phoenix to shoot 50% from the field. Tobias Harris led the team with 21 points, while Cade Cunningham added 20, 11 assists, and 6 rebounds. Detroit has won 7 of their last 10 games, showing strong recent form. The Houston Rockets are on a roll, winning 5 of their last 6 games, including a 125-103 victory over the Portland Trailblazers. Jalen Green has been on fire, scoring 26 points in his last game, averaging 30 over his last 5. I know Jacob had a points prop that he likes. I saw him put that in the Discord already. Probably want to get on that early. I see it listed at 22.5 for Jalen Johnson, but I'll continue with the breakdown. Alfred Sengun has also been a force in the paint, contributing 23 points, 15 boards, 6 assists in his last game. Key matchup factors. So you got pace and defense. Both teams play at a moderate pace. The Rockets are third-ranked defensive efficiency, which could limit Detroit's scoring opportunity. The Pistons' defense has been inconsistent, allowing 113.5 points per game. Injuries, the Rockets will be without Jabari Smith Jr., who's sidelined with a fractured hand. The Pistons are relatively healthy with their key players available outside of Jaden Ivey. And then head-to-head, the Rockets have won 4 of the last 5 against the Pistons, including a 101-99 victory earlier this season. And then recommendation, jaXon likes the Rockets. Minus 7.5 says the Rockets' strong home ATS record, 14-6, and elite defense gives them the edge in this matchup with Jalen Green and Alfred Sengun in excellent form. Houston should be able to cover this spread against the Pistons team that struggles with turnovers and defensive consistency. You can find the best odds, minus 7.5, looks like on Bet Rivers at minus 109. So boom, there you go, man. I always tell you guys, check out jaXon. You can get props, all that good stuff. So that's what jaXon likes. Let's jump over into the games for tomorrow. And that first one, I want to kind of work backwards a little bit. So the games that you guys see here are the 5 games that I'm gonna go through just for tonight's show. I'll go through all the rest of them afterwards, but we'll go through Celtics and Warriors. We'll go through Suns and Cavs, Hawks and Knicks, T-Wolves and Grizzlies, and we'll come back to this Detroit game. I want to go to the game that I actually bet first, and that is the Suns and the Cavs. I'm on Phoenix here. I took the points with the Phoenix Suns. I know it's really, really difficult to fade the Cleveland Cavaliers. I get it. This team has been, absolute juggernaut. One of the best teams that we've seen. They have the second best record or the best record behind OKC. I have picked them off a couple times so far this season, though. We faded them last weekend when they were playing against the Indiana Pacers, and we were able to get the job done in that game. They lost that game outright. Excuse me. Let me get a sip of water real quick. So, +8 is in my pocket. I sent it out to the members about an hour ago, or less than an hour ago. I'm looking at the matchup, and the first thing you look at the injury report, Mobley is not going to play in this game. That's big, in my opinion, and I'll talk a little bit more about Mobley not being there in just a second. On the opposite side for the Phoenix Suns, Bradley Beal is listed as questionable. So you got Beal listed as questionable. He could return. I went through, he was getting some shots up. Looked like he was moving pretty well on that ankle. They asked him about it afterwards, and he said that, as long as Bill can move like Bill moves, some he refers to himself in the third person. But I think he plays tomorrow, and I think you absolutely need him if you're the Phoenix Suns as well. But let's talk about the matchup. So Phoenix has won both of the last 2 times that they played last season. This is the third game for the Cavaliers. This is the first game back after a little 3-game road trip for them. Coming off 1 day's rest. For the Phoenix Suns, also coming off 1 day's rest. This is the 4th of a 5-game road trip for them. They got back-to-back wins, albeit against the Washington Wizards and the Detroit Pistons. And they've gone up and over the total in 4 straight games. Phoenix offense is clicking right now. I mentioned the Cavs being first game back home. They did beat Minnesota by 7 as a 5-point favorite after losing to OKC by 20. 3-1 to the over in their last 4 games. They're also 7-3 to the over in their last 10 games. So both of these teams have been elite offensively. So then I get into the matchup, right? You got a Phoenix team that's 3rd in offensive efficiency last 5 games. They're 21st in defensive efficiency, but they have played the second easiest schedule. So Phoenix been playing against the cupcakes, but their offense is clicking. The Cavs last 5 games, they're the 3rd worst defensive rated team compared to the full season where they're still top 10. They're forcing the second fewest turnovers of the Cleveland Cavaliers over their last 5 games, which is opposite of what they've been doing for the full season. This is one of the better defensive teams in the NBA is forcing turnovers. For the full season, they're actually top 10. Over the last 5 games, like I said, they're forcing the second fewest amount of turnovers against their opponents. And that's important because Phoenix does a pretty good job of taking care of the basketball. When you match the two teams up on the floor, you got a Phoenix team that's taking a bunch of shots in the mid-range. They live in the mid-range right now, the Phoenix Suns. And if you remember back to last Saturday, I think it was, or Sunday, when we bet the Pacers, I said the same exact thing. That's one of the reasons why I like Phoenix so much is because the Cavs struggle against the mid-range shot. So Phoenix, third in mid-range frequency, and they're shooting a league best 56% in the mid-range over the last 5 games. Meanwhile, Cleveland is bottom 5 in opponent mid-range frequency and opponent mid-range accuracy over the last 5 games. You got a Phoenix team that's 5th in points in paint frequency as well. So Phoenix trying to get down low, and they're 1st in paint accuracy. Cleveland actually bottom 5 in opponent paint accuracy. So they're struggling to protect the rim. Already mentioned, no Evan Mobley. I think that makes it a whole lot worse for them. You just got Jared Allen down there. So Cleveland, in my opinion, like I said, the better team. Cleveland is the better team. I feel like Phoenix is actually in better form. Cleveland, not covering spreads recently either. I think I mentioned this, but they are, I think, like 1-3 against the number in their last 4 games. So we're starting to see Cleveland regress a little bit. I do expect them to win the game. I don't think Phoenix is going to win the game, but it wouldn't surprise me if they did. I think 8 is a tad bit too I think it's a little bit disrespectful here. And I didn't even mention Nick Richards. And that's the key contributor here. So you add Nick Richards for the Suns, you subtract Evan Mobley, you add a big for Phoenix, which I think is a very, very good pickup for them. Nick Richards only played in 1 game so far. That game that he played against Detroit the other day, Detroit's a really good rebounding team, a team that really limits you on the inside as well. He played 29 and a half minutes in that game against Detroit. He scored 21 points, had 11 rebounds on 7 for 8 shooting. And he was a game best plus 22 when he was on the floor. Out of all the players, Detroit and Phoenix, KD, D-Book went off in the game. He still had the best plus minus. I think that helps a lot, in my opinion. Phoenix just needs somebody that's going to be able to protect the paint to help out, because Plumlee not it, but you need him to be a backup. Also not it. He's still a rookie, but he's going to come out there and play hard as well. And Nurkic's still going to be out. He probably never even going to suit back up for this team. The last thing I'll mention is the Evan Mobley, and I said I was going to talk about Evan Mobley. With him on the floor, the Cavs are actually a plus 11 in point differential, so they're outscoring their opponents by about 12 points per game while he's on the floor. Points per possession while he's on the floor. Without him, they drop down to just a 5.7. So they're only outscoring their opponents by about 6 points per 100 possessions. That's a big difference. And the biggest difference comes on the defensive end. They're allowing about 6 more points per 100 possessions without Evan Mobley on the floor. We know they can still score. They got Gorgeous Niang. They got, Dean Wade, Karis LeVert. They got a bunch of guys that can score off the bench. Ty Jerome. Like, this is a potent offense. I just feel like Phoenix, like I said, third best offense. I think they're going to be able to keep up. So Phoenix plus the 8 is in my pocket. Love Phoenix in this spot. I bet it already. Let's see if you guys have thoughts about this one. We'll go over to the next one. Captain Matumbo says, would you be doing streams frequently? So not all the time, Captain Matumbo. I do these streams, these night streams occasionally. There is a time that's coming up, I think about 2 weeks from now, 2.5 weeks, where it's just going to be me and my son for like a week. His mom's going out of town. So I will be doing all night streams. I will not be doing morning shows that week. This happened last year as well. So after I get him straight and get him situated for bed, I'm going to, just jump straight into capping the games, and I'll be doing night shows because it's too difficult for me to do day shows, too difficult for me to do morning shows. So I will be doing some night shows coming up in a couple weeks. Let's see. Freddie said, that's why you're on that Bulls free diet. Yeah, no Bulls for me. No Chicago Bulls for me, man. Ever. I don't think I'm ever going to bet that team again. Because if I fade them, that's the game they'll win too. So, yeah. All right, let's see what y'all saying about this one. What up to my guy Chad? Says I got scraped today. It happens. I know you're back. I know you'll bounce back for sure. Jacob says covered the Rockets. That's it. I have no looks on that plus the 7.5 seems like they would. So we're going to talk about that game in a second. What up? Brian says, what up, Chris? He said, my Rams almost pulled it off. Good performance. They covered, but I wanted the Super Bowl, and Washington. All right. Good to see you. Appreciate you, bro, for being here, pulling up on the evening, on the little late night show. What else y'all saying about this one? Rip says, like in the Suns here too, Cavs haven't been in rhythm, and without Mobley, I can't see it getting better here. Yeah, so I think this was at 8.5. I just hopped on. I hadn't capped the game yet, so I didn't play it, but it's down to 8. I do expect it to move too. Like, would not surprise me if this kept moving down. We'll see how it goes. Looks like I see it down to 7.5 on a couple books, but yeah, plus 8 in my pocket. Prolific says Jay had the Lakers on the spread. I don't know which Jay you talking about, but man, I hope not. I hope not. I talked about it earlier. No way I was looking towards the Lakers. We're just waiting for the injury report. Let's see. Any comments on this game? Fernando says Cavs at home and lost to the Suns last time they played and got blew out. Joe says losing Mobley is like losing a superstar. Can only look towards Phoenix. I bet him, Joe. I did bet him, man. Billy says, yo, what's up with the Discord, Brody? If you email me, you should. I don't got any unread emails, so I should have sent you the link already. You should have it already. But email me again if you don't. Plus 8, no Mobley. Suns in rhythm. Tail and Suns. Okay. Jay Money was on this. Oh man, he was on the Clippers. He was on the Lakers. I don't know what Jay saw there. Let's see. Subs don't play defense. I don't know. Cavs team total over. Like D-book points. Cashed them last game for me. Clippers tomorrow. Bulls are trash. What up, Nayeli? Appreciate you for tapping in. GLB Best said he already laid the 6.5 with the Clippers tomorrow. Only way I could look. Only way. And shout out to the Kings, man. They actually covered that 17-point spread with a 123-100 win. I know GLB Best was on them, so I like to see that, man. But yeah, Suns for me tomorrow, man. Suns for me tomorrow. We'll see where the line goes, but already on the Suns. So now let's work backwards a little bit. Let's go back to the Detroit and Houston game. So I haven't capped all the rest of the games. Like I said, I wanted to kind of talk them out, see what you guys were looking at, and kind of share my spreadsheets and my notes and thoughts about these games as well. So let's jump into the Detroit and Rocket game, because I'll tell you guys initially after I did my initial cap of the game, the first thing that jumped out to me was I wanted to take Detroit plus the points. I didn't want to lay the points with Houston, but let's just look at it. Let's look a little bit deeper at it real quick and see if I can get to a consensus, because the other play and what I also had written in my notes was the over. I do think that this is. I know the total's dropping. I like that the total's dropping because I want to play over in this game. So over and the Pistons were the ways that I was looking in this game. I did see it open at, I think it was at 8.5, and it's come down to 8 now. So some people are betting Detroit in this game. The total opened 223, and it is down to 220. I see it all the way down to as low as 221.5 right now over on BetMGM. So total dropping, and people liking Detroit. What I will say about Detroit is what I put in my notes. So you got Amin Thompson, who is the brother. So the brothers will be playing against each other in this game, Amin and Asur. So Amin is the brother that plays for the Houston Rockets. He did not play in that game in Portland the other day. So he's on the injury report. Detroit, I didn't see anybody on the injury report. Of course, they won't have Jaden Ivey. I think everybody else should be good to go. So that's the injury report. Everybody else, like I said, should be good to go. So Houston has dominated the head-to-head matchup. They won 6 straight. Detroit has covered the last 2, though, last season. Neither these teams have not played each other this season. And then you got Detroit coming off back-to-back losses. They lost to the Pacers, lost to the Suns at home, and it starts at least a 4-game road trip for them. For Houston, it'll be their first game back home after a 3-game road trip. They played 5 of their last 6 games on the road, and 8 straight different gyms as well. They've won 6 of their last 7, and they have the Cleveland Cavaliers coming to town on Wednesday. This is also a team that's playing really fast and scoring really, really well. So that's why I was looking towards the over. They're 6-0-1 to the over in their last 7 games are the Houston Rockets. In Detroit, I think their defense is a little fool's goal. I think, we cashed on the first half over. I like full game over yesterday when they were playing against the Phoenix Suns. And I mean, that game flew up and over the total. So those were just my preliminary thoughts. I also looked, and what else I wrote in my notes is another reason why I really wanted Detroit in this game. This is Detroit's role. Detroit's not a team that I really want when they have a real tight point margin. Like if the spread is small, if it's a possession or two, which we just saw with Detroit, which we just saw in the Phoenix game the other day, I don't want them in that spot. I want them when they're getting 3 or 4 possessions. That's just how I feel about Detroit. The numbers back it up as well. They've been a road dog 15 times this season, and they're 10-5 against the number. That's, I think, 66% on the season. This their role. You want the Detroit Pistons when they're catching points. Now, on the opposite side, I get it. Houston is, I think I said, 14-6 is a home favorite. Maybe they're not 14-6 as a home favorite. Houston is, let me just double check this real quick. So, Rockets, they're not that good, I don't think. They're 9-6-1 against the spread, but they're winning by about 10 points per 100. They're winning by about 10 points in totality. They haven't been covering recently, though. They had a push against the Lakers, and if you got the 4.5, you didn't win that. But I think it closed at, probably depends on what book. They didn't cover against the Grizzlies. They were laying 2.5, won that game by 2 with the Desmond Bane 3-pointer. They did cover against the Mavs, but they didn't cover against the Heat. So they've regressed a little bit recently, and I think it's more so because they've let up defensively just a tad bit. Detroit's been scoring the basketball, I think, a little bit better than the market has anticipated, which is why their games are going over. So I'm looking at this, and like I said, if I'm just thinking about the Pistons as a dog, specifically on the road, like I said, that's a bet on spot. 11-5. I said 10-5. My fault. 11-5 against the number. When the Pistons are a road dog, they only lose them by about 2 points. So that's what I like. As far as the total, like I said, Detroit, they're middle of the pack defensively last 5 games. They're playing at the 8th fastest pace. So you love that if you like an over. And they played the 7th easiest schedule. One of the things we talked about against Phoenix the other day, which is why I couldn't take them on the money line in that game with them being a 1-point dog in that spot. Houston, 4th in offensive efficiency, playing at the 4th fastest pace. So you got another team that's playing super fast. And Detroit is 9th in defensive efficiency, but Detroit should also be able to contribute, in my opinion, offensively. I mentioned Detroit being, road dog. They're 12-5 to the over as a road dog this season, including 5 straight. If you look at their last 11 games, 10 of them have actually gone up and over the total when they've been a road dog. So the total coming down to 221. I kind of lean over. This is the one where I think you kind of wait, though. We'll see how low it gets, and then maybe we jump in, if this touches 219, 220, something like that. I just think that the game's going to be over. When I match the two teams up on the floor, just really quickly, and then I'll go through the comments. Detroit is not a team that protects the ball well. They're bottom 10 in turnover rate. Houston is top 10. They're 7th in forcing turnovers. Last 5 games, Detroit still turning the ball over. They're actually worse. They're 24th in turnover rate. And Houston, taking the ball away a lot. They're actually 3rd in opponent turnover rate. So Houston should be able to turn Detroit over, get out, get in transition, run. In my opinion, I just gave you guys the pace numbers. Houston 4th in pace and Detroit 7th in pace. Detroit 8th in pace over the last 5 games. So I'm thinking that, with the efficiency of the Houston Rockets, with them turning the ball, with the Detroit Pistons turning the ball over, Houston's also a team that, crazy enough, they've actually turned the ball over a lot as well. And it's probably because they're playing a little bit faster, but they're 24th in turnover rate. So I think we see points in this game, man. I do think the total is a tad bit too low. The overs have actually been hitting for me. I've been contrarian under better, but the overs actually been hitting for me a lot. So lean over. And I still think I want to get there with Detroit as well, though. Detroit or over would be my recommendations for this game. Let's see what you guys are thinking about this one, if we have any comments on it at all. What up, Call Me Aries? Appreciate you for tapping in, bro. Nayeli says, hey, Chris, on the late night tip. Amin Thompson over his boards for G Loco. Appreciate you, Elijah. Says, let's go. Was just about to start looking into these games. Appreciate the early looks. Appreciate you, bro. Levine shows out where he wants to be traded. Be careful. Brian says, what about Houston first half at home? Yeah, Houston has been strong first half at the crib. There's no way I could talk you off of that at all, Brian. Real quick, let's go over to MoneyBaller. I feel like it's been a while since I've shared MoneyBaller on the screen anyway. So let's go look at MoneyBaller real quick. I'm going to pull it up, and we can look at some of the situational stuff for the Houston Rockets. I love MoneyBaller. There is a link in the description of the video where you can check out MoneyBaller, and it'll give you you can get signed up and get 50% off your first month using MoneyBaller. It's a one-stop shop to kind of handicap the games. I'm always looking at this as well. So real quick, let's go to tomorrow. So I got to change this over, let it load for a quick second, and then we'll go over and look at this first half that Brian's looking at for tomorrow. So Houston and Detroit. So here we got just the schedule for both teams. Situational notes will pop up if any are active. We come down, we look at historical stuff, so you can see the games, the totals, the pace, all that good stuff. Then you got some efficiency, 4 factors, some scoring, inside the arc, 3-point shooting. You got straight up records and ATS records here. So Houston is really good. 11-5 against the spread at the crib in the first half. 9-6-1 against the spread at home in general. So what this says is that they cover more in the first half, but not for the full game. They come out locked in, but not so much in the full game, not covering as much. But look at this though, the Detroit Pistons, 8-8 in the first half. So they're not unprofitable. That's about break even. And for the full game, I gave you guys this number already, but it's road dogs profitable, 11-5. You want the Pistons when they're catching points. You also see as road dogs, and I just said this, as a road dog, 10-6 to the over, and 11-5 in the first half to the over. Even though the Rockets, as a home favorite, a little bit more of an under team, 7-9 to the 9-7 to the under as a home favorite in the first half. But on the full game, 8-7-1, so they're a little bit more of an over team as well, just slightly, but they are over. Then you got some team total stuff. So the Pistons score in the first half. Well, they give up points in the first half, but they also score. So you can see that they're up and over their team total 10 of the 16 games. And as a road dog, they've also given up a bunch of points, 11-5 of their opponents to their over on the team total as well. So you can see here that the Rockets, they typically play defense in the first half at the crib, which is why this 11-5 sticks out so much. So that is just a quick snippet of MoneyBaller. Also down here, you can see ATS range records. So Detroit, you can see the Pistons are 7-2 when they're getting between 7 and 10 points. And the Rockets, when they're laying 7 to 10 points, they're only 2-3 against the spread. So that's 40% versus Detroit being 78% right here at 7-2. So yeah, it's Rockets. It's over for me in this game, or it's Detroit plus the points. I just worry about them, being able to protect the basketball, but that's the only way that I would be looking at this game. Just some preliminary thoughts, but I don't think I'm gonna look too much more deeply into this game. Let's see what else y'all are saying about this one. And I do want to shout out to, who was it? I think it was Jacob. Shout out to GLB Bats. He laid it with both the Sacramento Kings and the Oklahoma City Thunder, and they both won. We talked about it on the show. You want these, these big teams. You want to play. You're gonna have to pay. You're gonna have to lay the points, and they came through for sure. Definitely came through. This is the look Fernando got right here. Jalen Green up and over his 23.5 points. So I don't want to stay on the same game for too long, but I do want to kind of bring this up and show this real quick. So shout out to Jacob because he put this in the Discord. He was looking at Jalen Green as well. Jalen Green has a really good matchup tomorrow. A really good matchup. We just saw what Devin Booker did against this team, and I'm not I guess the biggest believer in Jalen Green because I've seen games where he has 9 points, but for whatever reason they're playing so much more faster. His shots are falling. Like I wouldn't be fading him right now, especially against a Detroit team that I don't feel like is that great defensively, specifically against the shooting guard position. So this is Outlier for people that are interested. There's a link in the description of the video where you can get a 7-day free trial. If we look at Jalen Green, so we can just type his name in, hit done. You can see even before clicking on anything, his points plus rebounds, it's minus 125 on Caesars right now. He's hit that 5 straight times. That's right here. He's hit it 9 of the last 10 and 70% of his last 20 games. So, I mean, that's crazy in itself. If you click on his points plus rebounds prop, you can see the 9 of the last 10. You just click on points. You can see that he's listed at 19.5, minus 137. You can click alt lines and go to his over, let's see, over 22.5. It looks like his consensus about a minus 120. And look, I mean, he's just been killing it. Look at this. This is what, 8 straight games he's gone up and over the number. It's not even that close. You need him to score 23. He's had 27 or more, but he had 26 against Portland the other day, but 27 or more in 8 straight games. You come down, you can see some supporting numbers as well. You can see last 10 games, he's shooting 51% from the field, getting up 20 attempts per game, shooting 46% from the 3-point line, knocking his threes down, shooting 92% from the free throw line. And I'm just expecting this number to continue to rise for Jalen Green tomorrow, especially with the pace that we just kind of talked about. His 3-point prop also may be a good look with him shooting so well from the 3-point line. Yep, there we go. So he's listed at 2.5. It is minus 160, so you probably want to take him at 3.5 at plus 155. But even at 3.5, I mean, he's hit 4 more in, what is this, 8 straight games? 8 straight games. Yeah, I mean, it's very, very correlated. You can see that the the Detroit Pistons are also 23rd against the 3-point shot right here. So yeah, check out Outlier if you guys are interested, man. I think it's a pretty good matchup for Jalen Green tomorrow. Yeah, really, really good matchup for Jalen Green tomorrow. I would be looking at his points prop as well. I think that's a really, really good look. He also scores 32% of his points using the pick and roll as the pick and roll ball handler. And you got a bottom 10 defensive rated team against the pick and roll. He also scores 22% of his points in transition. Detroit is also 15th middle of the pack. They also foul a lot. He gets about 14% of his points from the free throw line. They're bottom 10 in that as well. So yeah, like I said, Devin Booker just went absolutely crazy, and Jalen Green fits the play type. So if I'm looking at player props, and I may even add Jalen Green, I like Jalen Green in this spot. So 3 looks in this game, over, in my opinion. Detroit plus their points, and Jalen Green on his points prop over 22.5. I do think that this is probably going to move to 23.5. Like I said, shout out to Jacob because he put it in the chat, and it makes a ton of sense in my opinion. Probably won't be 22.5 when we wake up in the morning. Or if it is, we're not going to get better odds. Just put it like that. So Phoenix plus the 8, Detroit and Houston over 221.5, and then Detroit plus, I think you can get a plus, I'm just getting the short list ready for tomorrow. You can get Detroit plus 8 on FanDuel right now. Looks like it's the best odds right now. All right, so that's the first game. Real quick, let's see what else was said real quick. Plus the Pistons plus the points for Jimmy. This game has to go over, Fernando says. D-Book like Houston. Locked in Detroit plus the 8 on Fanatics, G Loco says. Let's see. Houston over first half, I'm thinking, Brian says. Pistons plus the 8 for Nayeli. D-Bookie says Rockets minus the 7.5 for the movement going to watch the line movement. We can see that. Okay. Rockets do play the Cavs next. I said that already, Jake. What up, G421? What up, Andrew? Appreciate y'all for tapping in. Leaning Pistons and Cade assists for Vaughn. Van Fleet under his rebounds and assists, and Sengun under his 10.5 rebounds, and Jalen Green over his 22.5 points. So, Jacob, if you're still watching, I know this comment came in a couple minutes ago, but if you're still watching, I'm interested in your thoughts on Cade under his assists as well. The Rockets don't give up a ton of assists. I know he's only listed at 8.5, and he had a double-double. I think he got to 10 or 11 against the Suns the other day. But I think the pace could kind of impact that a little bit. A lot of plays in the same game. So Probably won't get there on that, but I was thinking that was one of the things I was thinking. Maybe Kate under his assists. So yeah, but definitely right now Jalen Green over his 22.5 points. I may even put that in tonight. But I like the other plays as well. Now there says a men versus a sir. Love both their boards and stocks. I just like seeing them get to play against each other. Honestly, I'm excited for that matchup. Love to see brothers get to go against each other. We just got LaMelo and Lonzo the other day, while LiAngelo was in the crowd. Pistons are too good to be getting 8 points. Where line, Jake says. I mean, the Rockets are playing good right now. Rockets are playing good. Fernando says if the Rockets got the Cavs next, then I might alt Jalen Green to under points instead of taking the over. Rockets team total, Malik, is Houston team total is 115.5, minus 102 on DraftKings, the best number available right now. 115.5. I think that they can get there. I think that they can get there for sure. What up, Will? Says, what up, though? Chris took Cade over him. He gonna forever have smoke for Detroit. Can only look. I forgot about him versus Jalen Green. That's why I like doing the show, man. I like that. I like that a lot, Will. Forgot all about that, man. Jacob says he's dropping more props in the Discord, so people should join. Just shoot me an email, Apollo, at ChrisBeCappinn 2Ps2Ns @gmail.com. The link is my email is in the description of the video. ChrisBeCappinn, Brian. ChrisBeCappinn, not decapping. What else y'all saying about this one? What do you think about Booker 25 points, Durant 20 points? He's hit 5 or less. I couldn't talk you off any of that, DR. I'm just playing the spread though. I took the +8. Took the +8 in that one. Malik says, put me in for that, Chris. Rockets team total over for Malik. I can see it. I like it. I actually like it. They've been running it up for sure. And I think it's going to be played with pace. So I couldn't talk you off of that at all. D-Bookie says Rockets only give up 7.5 assists to the point guard for the season. I like it. Cade under 8.5. I know it's scary to fade him. And I'm expecting this game to be played with pace. I think I like Jalen Green to go over a little bit more than Cade to go under. And I hate playing a whole bunch of props in the same game. I hate having more than one play in the same game. So probably just be the total for me. I think it's what I like the most. But yeah. All right, let's go over to the next one, man. We spent a lot of time. Really good deep dive on that game. Sounds like there's a lot of different ways to get paid, whether you like the Rockets on the spread or Detroit on the spread, which I prefer Detroit on the spread, catching the points. Jalen Green over his points prop, Cade under his assists. Houston first half was also in the chat. All right, so next one we got is the Minnesota Timberwolves and the Memphis Grizzlies. This line, I'm not sure what it opened up at, honestly. I think I missed the opener, but I want to say it was like a pick, or not even a pick. I think it was like -1, and money quickly came in on Houston. Money quickly came in on Memphis, moved this from whatever it opened at to 3. And then from 3, now it's at 3.5. Total has moved up from 233 or 232 to 235. I know a bunch of guys. I did see a bunch of guys in the Discord that like the over in this game. I will say that the over, I like over too. I did see the over, just real quick before we get into the handicap. There was an over if you guys have Hard Rock, which Hard Rock, I know it's only available in a couple states. Hard Rock had this at 234 for people who like the over. And it's still a 234 over there. So 235 on most books, but there's some 234s out there still kind of lingering around as well. So we jump into the matchup here. We got injury report. Rudy Gobert is questionable. Dante DiVincenzo is out already. For the Memphis side of things, Zach Edey did lead that game against the San Antonio Spurs in the last one, but he is off the injury report. They get Gigi Jackson back as well. Gigi, I think, is going to be good for this team, and I like Gigi a lot. So Gigi Jackson's going to play, I think, his first game of the season for them as well. And then you got Ja Morant listed as questionable. He was questionable in the last game as well. He did not play. Memphis gets up for these MLK Day games. That's the first thing I think we got to throw out there. Memphis is really good on MLK Day. You do got a quick revenge spot for the Timberwolves. Not sure if they like. I like Memphis in this, but I'll just go out and say I haven't bet them yet. but Memphis is the way that I'm looking in this game. I know it's a quick revenge spot for Minnesota. They just lost to this team. The game was like a week and a day ago. It was on. I think it was on Saturday. It was last Saturday. Memphis went into Minnesota after losing a game, and I think they had just lost to Houston and beat Minnesota outright 127-125. They were getting a point and a half in that game, or two, and that game went well over to 200. Not well over, but it went over to 232. So this game did open higher. Most of the time, that's a reflection of the game actually going up and over. So Minnesota just been traveling all over the place. We've been talking about it, and they haven't been covering either. They're 1-4 against the spread in their last 5 games. This is the third game in 4 nights for them. They went into the Garden on Friday, got a big win, had to fly back home the night after, played against the Cleveland Cavaliers on Saturday, lost that game by 7. And now, no practice time at all, just right back into it. Got to get on a flight and go to Memphis. So I don't know how many games it's been that they played, consistently in a different gym, but it does not bode well for them at all in this spot. Memphis coming off back-to-back wins against San Antonio, one without Ja Morant, which we were on the -2.5. The other one, the one with Ja Morant, we was on. The one without, I did not play him, but they smoked this San Antonio Spurs, beat them by, I think, about 28 points. In that game. And this is their first game back home after a 4-game road trip. They have covered 4 straight and 4 straight overs. The Grizzlies offense is absolutely humming right now. So those were things that I wrote down in my notes. If I match these two teams up on the floor really, really quickly, I think the first thing we got to think about is what if Rudy Gobert doesn't play? To me, that's a major liability for this team, especially with them being able to protect the rim, because Memphis lives at the rim, right? And one of my hesitations for, one of the things that kind of held me up, almost held me up. It didn't hold me up completely, but one of the things that almost held me up from betting Memphis in their last game, in their 2 games ago against San Antonio, is the rim protection that Victor Wembanyama brings for the team, right? So we talked about Memphis, living at the rim. Last 5 games, the 10th in rim frequency, only 16th in rim accuracy. But when you talk about getting to the paint, this is the number 1 team as far as paint frequency in the NBA for the full season. Last 5 games, the 7th in paint frequency, 10th in paint accuracy. And the Minnesota Timberwolves do a pretty good job protecting the paint. If Rudy Gobert does not play, it's going to get a whole lot worse. It could be a layup line at the rim, honestly, without him being down there. On the full season, the Timberwolves we know that they're elite defense, 7th in defensive efficiency. They are pretty good at the rim as well. They're 8th in opponent rim frequency and 9th in opponent rim accuracy. And they've been pretty good over the last 5 games as well. They're actually number 4 in opponent rim frequency, in opponent rim accuracy, and opponent paint accuracy as well. So they've done a good job, but I kind of feel like you need Rudy Gobert out there. I think they're gonna put Rudy Gobert in a bunch of different pick and roll situations, bring him away from the rim, and I think that they get another win. I really, really do. When we talked about Memphis a few weeks ago, specifically when they were playing against Houston, we talked about them turning the ball over a lot. On the full season, they're still protecting the ball at a bottom 6 clip. They're 24th in turnover rate. But last 5 games, they've done a really good job. They're actually 9th in turnover rate. So they're top 10 in protecting the basketball as of late. And Minnesota's not forcing a bunch of turnovers, only 23rd in turnover rate over the last 5 games. So I'm thinking no Dante DiVincenzo, potentially no Rudy Gobert. Whether they have Ja or not, with Zach Edey back on the floor, it feels like a Memphis spot for me. Then I factor in the MLK Day game as well. I feel like it's a Memphis spot. I really, really do. I think they're going to try to get out, run. They got a bunch of playmakers. Santi Aldama, I think, just had a career high the other night, or a season high anyway, against the San Antonio Spurs. So it's a bunch of scoring that they have here. Not to say that Minnesota won't be motivated to try to get a quick revenge coming off the loss as well. So they're coming off a loss and they have revenge, losing to Cleveland the other day. But I like Memphis in this spot, man. Memphis and Minnesota real quick. Let's just look at it real quick. Let's just dive a little bit deeper, and then I'll go through the comments. Have not bet Memphis yet, but that's the side that I want to be on. Memphis is 27-12 on the full season, so about 5 games better than the Minnesota Timberwolves, who are 22-20. ATS, Memphis is much better, 28-14, 66% at home, 14-6, 70% as a favorite, 18-9, 67% as a home favorite, 12-6, 66%. Excuse me. In conference play, 15-11, coming off a win. They're 15-11 against the number as well. And then you got Minnesota on the opposite side, just 16-25 against the spread. On the road, they have been profitable, 12-10. It's 55%. As a road dog, they are 4-2. So they do a lot better when they're not laying points. We always say that when we talk about Minnesota. Well, I say that when I talk about Minnesota. So they've been a road dog 6 times. They've covered 4 to 6 spreads. So like I said, I don't think it's going to be easy. They're 11-17 against the conference. And coming off a loss, they are 7-11 against the number. So maybe you don't fear them as much. When I look at last 5 games, Memphis is number 2 in offensive efficiency, right behind the Houston Rockets. Defensive efficiency, middle of the pack at 16th, number 1 in pace. They played the 3rd strongest schedule over the last 5 games, and they're still number 1 in scoring. That's what you like to see. You really, really like to see that. They are also 6th in efficiency differential. You like to see that as well. They're outscoring their opponents by about 7.5 points over the last 5 games. And at home, we know they're number 1 in scoring. They're also 4th in defensive efficiency on the full season, 4th in efficiency, second in efficiency differential, and also number 1 in pace on the full season at the crib as well. On the other side, we got Minnesota last 5 games. They are Minnesota is they are 12th in scoring, number 1 in offensive efficiency. So they've actually frog the Houston Rockets. I think Houston must be 3rd then. 23rd in defensive efficiency though, so not guarding their yard as much as well. They're also playing a lot slower, 26th in pace, and that's the thing that kind of scared me a little bit about the total, just because they do play a little bit slower, and without Dante DiVincenzo being there, they could struggle to score the basketball. But I still think Memphis plays with enough pace to get this one up and over the total. So all in all, and they played the 14th strongest schedule over the last 5 games. So all in all, I do think this is a Memphis spot. I think I like Memphis a little bit more than the total, but only looking towards Memphis and looking towards the over in this spot. Those would be my thoughts on this game here. Let's see if anybody has thoughts on this one. Not going through that game, Jimmy. I got the over right last time. I see the total dropping. I'm not going through that game. Not tonight. I'll go through that game tomorrow, though. What up, Free Sauce? Appreciate you for tapping in. Also not going through this game tonight either. GLB Best says he caught the total at 233.5. So he got about 1.5, 2 points of value here. It could be a lot higher tomorrow. Jacob got in on the over as well. Andrew says Minnesota's playing well. I'm not sure how well they are playing though, Andrew. They've been the Timberwolves are so inconsistent to me, man. Like you go to Madison Square Garden and you get a big win against the Knicks. But remember the game before that, who they play against? They played Golden State. They were laying 7. They lost the game outright. The Warriors didn't even have Draymond. So how well are they playing? Like, I don't know, man. They're a team that, in my opinion, still kind of searching for some consistency. Like, certain teams not searching for consistency no more. The Pacers were a team that was searching for consistency. They've been consistent. But you look at the Timberwolves, they've alternated wins and losses their last, 6 games? They beat Orlando by 15. Then they lose to the Grizzlies. Then they beat the Wizards by 14. Then they lose to the Warriors. Then they beat the Knicks by 17. Then they lose to the Cavs. So it's been a lot of, back and forth. They're only 3-6-1 against the number. So I kind of disagree with you a little bit. As a dog, they've been playing, I guess, a little bit better, but they're not really covering right now. 3-6-1 last 10, 1-4 against the number last 4. Let's see what you guys are thinking. Jimmy likes the plus 3.5. Another revenge game for the Wolves. Go crazy on the road, but I'm scared. It's MLK Day. Let's see. Memphis always wins on MLK Day. Who says, I will get to your email as soon as I get done with this show, Gary. As soon as I get done with this show, bro, I got you. Andrew says he likes Memphis. Memphis go crazy at the home. That guy in the comments says. That guy in the comments. That's a crazy name. 6-1. Last 7 MLK games. I like it. I like it a lot. Sean says Hawks go crazy on MLK Day as well. I want the Grizzlies, but I didn't get there yet. We still got some time. That's why I'm doing the show early. So y'all can process the information, digest it, think about it, whatever the case might be. You got plenty of time to make plays. Yeah, we'll see if Gobert actually plays or not. Ron says he like Ant's points, rebounds, and assists to go over. Nick Richards double is sitting at plus 210 on Hard Rock. That guy in the comments says he hit it in the first game. Cleveland without Evan Mobley as well. I could not talk you off. He's gonna play 30 minutes. I thoroughly expect him to play 30 minutes. Could not talk you off that double at all tomorrow. Man, this is the gift and the curse about the show, because then I end up writing a whole bunch of stuff down and my brain goes into overload. But Nick Richards double makes a ton of sense to me. Man. He looked really aggressive in that game. Jared Jackson Jr. over his points for G Loco. What else should I say? Gobert scared, huh? You don't want that, Rudy. Don't be scared, Rudy. I don't know if he's scared or not. We'll see how it goes. What else should I say in the comments? Let me skip to the bottom a little bit. Grizzlies for sure for Nayeli. T-Wolves team total under 116.5, Fernando says. Mitch says, what do you like in the Cleveland Cavs game? You just got to go back to the beginning, Mitch. I already talked about that one. Actually, the only play that I've made so far. Go over this game tomorrow. Mavs and Hornets, not a game that I'm looking to bet tonight. Mark says, I'm on the mat. I'm on Memphis, minus the 3.5. Let's do it, Mark. I'm going to get there with you. He says he also played the he altered it a little bit. Took Memphis to just win by a bucket and took the over at 233. Think it's correlated for sure, Mark. If Memphis is going to win, it's going to be because of their offense, in my opinion. Brian says Memphis first quarter, full game. Let's get it. So we sounds like it's a Memphis Grizzlies program tomorrow. I like it. I like it a lot. Let's go to the next one. We got the Atlanta Hawks and the New York Knicks. Game we play at the Garden tomorrow. And this line is still sitting at about 6.5. The total has shot up, though. This was at 231 is what I'm seeing it opened at. I didn't get to this line first, though. And the total is up to 236 now. So even since I made the graphics about an hour ago, the total has gone up another full point, and it's up to 236.5 over on DraftKings as well. So total moving north, and spread not really moving at all. Open 7, down to 6.5. Injury report, we got Karl-Anthony Towns listed as questionable. He did not play in that last game against the Minnesota Timberwolves. After he also missed the game against the Knicks, against the 76ers as well. So it's been 2 games since he's hurt his hand, and he hasn't played in either one of them. He hurt his hand in that game against who were they playing at home? I can't remember who they were playing at home in that game, but he hurt his hand in whoever 3 games ago and has not played. It's gonna be interesting to see if he plays tomorrow. You also got Josh Hart listed as questionable with a neck injury. Josh Hart's a warrior. He's a dog in my opinion. If he can go, I do think he's gonna go. But I'm not sure what happened because I missed the game on Friday. Did not get a chance to go back and watch it back against the Timberwolves. So I'm not sure what happened with Josh Hart. If he even left the game, I'm always honest with you guys. I got to do a little bit more deep digging on that. But with no Josh Hart and no Karl-Anthony Towns, there's no way I'm laying 6.5 points with the New York Knicks because Jalen Johnson and Trey are both listed as probable. Do think both of these guys are going to play. Now, you do get a double revenge spot here. That's something to point out if you do like the Knicks here. The Knicks did lose both games. I remember being on the Knicks team total over in the first time that they played in Atlanta, and they fell short 1 point. I think I took the team total over 115.5, and they landed on 115, even though they missed about 8 free throws in the fourth quarter. I always remember my losses because they frustrate the hell out of me. So next game was actually the game in the Garden in the Cup, and the Knicks came in there and beat them outright in that game as well. So Knicks have actually won 3 straight in the head-to-head. If you go back to last season, they won as well. So they match up really well with the Knicks is what I'm saying. Both of those games that they won this season, they were actually a 7-point and an 8-point dog, which is very, very similar to where this line is now. Atlanta is actually playing some pretty good basketball. They've won 3 straight covers for them as well. And the Knicks, kind of like the Timberwolves, just kind of very inconsistent. They've alternated wins and losses in their last 7 games, winning 1, losing 1. Most recently, they did lose, though, to the Timberwolves, like we just talked about it, without Cat on Friday. This is the first leg of a back-to-back for them as well. They got the Nets coming to town. I think they'll be at home. I mean, even if they're not, they're in Brooklyn, so it's not far. But they do got the Nets coming to town after this game. I don't really like fading the Knicks off a loss. I feel like they've been one of the more profitable teams. So let me just get my all my stuff pulled up real quick, and then I'll match the two teams up on the floor. But I want to get there with Atlanta in this game. That was my thought process before even deep diving into it at all. I really want to get there with Atlanta. I do think that with the injuries, they are the right side. Even though the Knicks got double revenge here. We bet the Hawks on, what was that, yesterday? Yeah, we bet the Hawks yesterday, and they got the job done for us. Took them plus 10.5. It was just, I think I put 0.75 units on it. They won the game outright against Boston. So let's match the two teams up on the floor, see if the Knicks can see if the Atlanta Hawks can continue to find some success real quick. Let's go Knicks and Hawks real quick. So Atlanta and New York. All right, so just start with some trends. You got Atlanta, just 10-12 on against the spread on the road. When they're a road dog, they also are 5-3. So you love to see that. It's actually their strongest trend on this list. It's 5-3 as a road dog. That's 62.5%. When they're coming off a win, just 10-11. Conference games, you love to see this. They're 13-9 against the number. That's 59%. So yeah, but overall in the season, just 18-23. I'm interested to see what their numbers look like with Jalen Johnson in though. Like I want to look that up. I don't want to take too much time, but I am interested in seeing that. So let me just look at that real quick. Let me just look at the Hawks when they have Jalen Johnson, because I know that they're terrible when they don't have him. Jalen Johnson minutes greater than 0. So the Hawks this season with Jalen Johnson in, not great. They're 11-18 against the spread when he is in this season. This can't be right though. This can't be right, because it says the last time that he played was on January the 4th. And he just played against the Celtics the other day. So this clearly isn't right. So I like that it's not right. But I got to figure this out. I'll figure out what the numbers are. I just know I want the Hawks with Jalen Johnson in. That's really what it comes down to. I know 6.5 is a pretty big number. But if I get back to my spreadsheets, you got the Knicks off a loss. The first thing I like to look at, they have been profitable. 60%, 9-6 against the number when they're coming off a loss this season. I just said that they were kind of alternating games back and forth. At home, only 10-10 against the number. As a home favorite, only 10-9 against the number, so slightly profitable, about 62.5%. Then conference play, 15-14. I want to see the Knicks when they're in revenge games, because I feel like they haven't been doing that well this season. So Knicks previous loss. Knicks are see if I'm winning something. I am. So the Knicks are 1-4 if they're facing a team that they lost to already this season. 1-4 straight up, 1-4 against the spread. Says that, for whatever reason, they don't match up well with that team. I do remember the Pistons beating them twice. They lost to the Thunder twice. They lost to the Bulls twice. Lost to the Hawks twice already. So yeah, the only team that they've beaten was actually the Jazz. The Jazz did smoke them. I think the Jazz beat them by double digits when they were laying 8.5 in Utah. They did come back home and smoke Utah, but Utah also was without players. So I think it's an Atlanta spot. Let's go through and just add it. Let's look at the teams, last 5 games, all that good stuff. Do our due diligence. So we got the Knicks. They are struggling defensively, 27 defensive efficiency last 5 games. They are 7th in offensive rating. So they're scoring a bunch of points, but giving up a bunch of points. 26th in pace, and they played strength of schedule is about 13th. So 13th most difficult strength of schedule. On the Atlanta Hawks side, they are 13th in offensive efficiency, 6th in defensive efficiency. So defense has been playing a lot better. You love to see that. If you take a road team, you want them to be playing some defense. They're 11th in pace. They have been playing against a really easy schedule, though. 5th easiest schedule or 6th easiest schedule over the last 5 games for the Atlanta Hawks. Man, so I don't like that as much. I feel like the Hawks' recent wins have been against cupcakes outside of the Boston Celtics. I know they got one in there against the Got one in there against the Bulls, which everybody beating them. So they beat the Celtics, they beat the Bulls, they beat the Suns, lost to the Suns, and then lost to the Jazz. But a lot of these, they were shorthanded. So I won't give them too much slack for that. So I'm looking at Atlanta for the last 5 games, which honestly, I don't feel like you can kind of look at the numbers, honestly, because Jalen Johnson and, they were missing Bogdanovich in a couple of those games. I think Trae Young missed one of those games against Chicago. So these numbers are going to be a tad bit off, but they're protecting the ball well, 5th in turnover rate, 11th in offensive rebound rate. Defensively, they're doing a good job of not giving up offensive rebounds. They are forcing the 7 most turnovers over the last 5 games. In the Knicks, glaring hole in their defense is the 3-point shooting. It's one of the reasons why I didn't take the under against the Timberwolves the other day, because the Timberwolves were shooting the 3-point shot so well. The Knicks are 27th in opponent 3-point accuracy. Teams are shooting 43% against them at the 3-point line. 29th in opponent 3-point accuracy and above the break 3. 45% is what teams are shooting. You hate to see that if you like the Knicks. They're not guarding the 3-point line well. Yeah, I think 6.5 is too many, man. I know Karl-Anthony Towns could get rolled in. Josh Hart could get rolled in. Maybe the number moves in favor of the Knicks, and if that's the case, so maybe I'll wait this one out. But maybe they don't play, and then I'm missing the best of the number. But Atlanta plus the points would be the way that I'm looking at this game. Atlanta plus the points. And let me just see real quick one more thing before I go through the comments, and we'll move over to the next one. Last 5 games for the Knicks, offense is playing well, 10th in point score, 10th in efficiency, 4th in offensive rebound rate. They are getting to the free throw line a ton, 5th most. A lot of their shots are coming from the corner 3, 9th in frequency, 7th in accuracy. The Atlanta Hawks are the number 4 rated defense against the 3-point shot over the last 5 games. That's interesting. But we got to remember, like I said, strength of schedule, they have played an easy schedule. Outside of Boston, though, I got to give them credit. They did knock off Boston. But yeah, holding teams to about 32% from the 3-point line last 5 games. Knicks are not running fast at all, 28th in transition frequency, 25th in points scored via the transition bucket. I do lean under. I think this total is a tad bit too high. I know Atlanta plays super fast, but if the Knicks going to dictate pace, they're 26th in pace over the last 5 games at home. They're 24th in pace over the full season. I think this game's played a little bit slower. Atlanta playing a little bit of defense. I could be totally wrong, though. Like, this is where I typically get tricked, because I'm thinking, okay, Atlanta playing really good defense. Atlanta come out here, let the Knicks score 140 points, and my over is cooked. So I haven't been playing totals, especially unders. Been playing a little bit of overs, but haven't played unders. But I lean under, and I'll be looking at Atlanta plus the points here. Let's see what you guys are thinking about this one. I'm just capping the games out loud, honestly. Looking at my spreadsheets, capping the games out loud. Jimmy Vestas, he likes under. I like that. I like that a lot. Curtis says Hawks on the money line. Mosey says Hawks on the money line. Trey for 50. We know he cannot stand MSG. So I like that a lot. Trey should, he may go crazy in this game. We'll see how it goes. Can't make a play without knowing cat status. Agree with that, Free Sauce, because you're gonna get the line gonna shift one way or another, regardless. Jacob says he's leaning Hawks, but Faden missed the better of the number. Rocking with the Hawks. Andrew says trade day. Yeah, a lot of manipulation with the injury report here. A lot of it for sure. Fading the Knicks with that many points. Hawks plus 6.5. Yeah, somebody, I don't know, maybe it might have been, it might have been my guy RC, who talking about the Knicks when they're laying less than 10, and I think they've been like very unprofitable as a home favorite. So when they're laying 10 or more, let me just look at it. When they're laying 10 or more, they're actually 7-1 straight up, 5-1-2 against the spread. So they got a couple pushes in here, probably more like 6-1-1, or I don't know, but just depending on where the line closed at. 5-2-1 though is 83% against the spread if they're laying 10 or more. If they're laying less than 10, they are 4-8-1. So only covering about 33% of the time if they're supposed to be in a game where they're not supposed to win by double digits. So Yeah, I couldn't remember. I can't remember where I found that trend at, but somebody, it's not anything that I looked at, but somebody mentioned that. Just kind of stuck in the back of my head. Let's see. Hawks turn up for games like this. I agree. And most of the time, if most people have been watching the show, not my show, been watching the NBA for a while. You know, the Hawks typically get home games for MLK Day. You know, because of the history with Martin Luther King. But yeah, this year they got him on the road. They got him on the road at MSG. Young man Travel says, I low-key want to take my Hawks, but they're 3-7 against the spread at a rest disadvantage. But they shouldn't be at a rest. Yeah, they are at a rest disadvantage because the Knicks played on Friday and lost. So they're coming off 2 days rest. Boston is playing. The Hawks played yesterday and beat Boston. Okay. Cat did practice today, though, so that's good news. Josh Hart ran into his own player. He came back after going to the locker room. So Josh Hart's probably going to play, is what Von's saying. Like I said, I got a little bit of work to do. I saw the injury report, but I like to deep dive and figure out whether I think the player's going to play or not, going through the beat writer stuff. So I'm going to definitely write down that, look up Josh Hart's status. I trust Von. I do trust Von. Josh Hart and Cat status for the game. See if I can do a little bit more digging. Being that Cat did go through practice, it's probably, you know, maybe we wait and take Atlanta if you like Atlanta. Let's see. Hawks plus 6.5. Derek says Knicks struggling big time right now. Hawks with Jalen Johnson back have to be the pick. Kyle says, why did you skip Mavs? What up, Kyle? Bro, I don't want to talk about the Mavs and the Hornets. I'm not going through all the games, Kyle. I'm just going through 5. And it's still taking me forever. So, yeah, I'll go through Hornets and Cavs tomorrow. And we'll go through Hornets and Cavs on your show tomorrow. You got to hit me up, Kyle. Let me know what time you want to do the show because the start times are at noon tomorrow. So let me know what time you're going to do your show. And I'll do my show before I do your show. So let me know, Kyle. What up, DJ Props? He said, that's what I want to know. People really want to talk about the Dallas Mavericks and the Charlotte Hornets? I don't. I do not, man. Let's see. Cal says, clearly, Hornets plus 5.5 is the move. I did preliminary notes on that game. I got to look a little deeper, man. Appreciate you, Mark, for taking up for me here. Now, Ellie says she likes the Hawks on the money line. Thinks they continue to get the game. Continue to get the win. Jimmy Best says, Chris, are you on Killer Sports? They're having issues with the player prop database. Yeah, that's what I was looking at, GLB Best. So I'm glad you showed me that. I'm glad you told me that because I thought I was tripping. I know I spelled his name right. The query was right. So I appreciate that for sure. Jacob likes Jalen Johnson over his rebounds and assists, and Trae Young to get 10 assists in this game. He's been playing really, really well. Jalen Johnson has. Says small MVP ticket. Kyle just be in the comments just chatting, bro. Oh man. What else we liking in this game? Anything else? The Hawks money line getting us paid now, Ellie says. Atlanta full strength. What up, Prestigious Prodigy? Appreciate you, bro. Good evening. Good night, Miranda. It ain't even evening no more. 11. Okay, Kyle said we're gonna go at 11. I was thinking about doing my show at 10 anyway, so we'll be back on here at 10 to see what lines moved, all that good stuff, and talk about the other 3 games tomorrow. Hornets money line for Daniel. Okay, and I think that is it on that one. All right, so let's move over. Next game we got up is, we talked about this already. If you join late, I am on the Suns tomorrow plus the 8. Next up, we got the Celtics and the Warriors. This is a game that I want to talk about now because I do think the line is going to move, and it's already kind of moving. Not sure if that 6.5 is still available or not, but I do like the Celtics here in a bounce back spot tomorrow against the Golden State Warriors. Did not bet it yet, though. Just a couple different things here. We got get to injury report. So Draymond is already out. He played, I think it was like 2 or 3 minutes dealing with that calf injury against the Wizards last night. I guess he re-aggravated. I missed it the beginning of the game, but he did leave and didn't return. He's already been ruled out. Steph is also listed as questionable, but he does plan to play, is what the report came out yesterday as of, but then he was questionable in today's report. For the Boston Celtics. They should be fully healthy in this game. Al Horford did not play in that last one. I think it was somebody else that was on the injury report as well. And as soon as I saw Porzingis was out as well. So he should return as well. I'm pretty sure Porzingis should return tomorrow. Let's just double check it. Porzingis, I don't think has played in a back-to-back for the Boston Celtics this season. I'm guessing that eventually he will start to play in back-to-backs because he said after they beat Orlando the other day that, he would he was going to try to play, but then end up being ruled out. So typically you start to see that, those guys start to play back-to-back. So Sean Grande says Celtics healthy for tomorrow. Warriors will be without 3 of their top players. No Draymond, no Brzezinski, no Jonathan Kuminga. And that's assuming Steph questionable plays. Golden State trying to sweep the season series. So we'll talk about that a little bit. Injury report. Yeah, Boston. No injuries to report. So you got a clean injury report tomorrow for the Boston Celtics. And as I just read, you got a revenge spot here for Boston Celtics. So you got Boston coming off a loss. They just lost to Atlanta outright as 10.5-point favorites. There was a second leg of a back-to-back. And you got the revenge game here. These are the games that you want to bet Boston, in my opinion. Golden State did beat them. We were on Golden State. I thought that line was a little ridiculous because Porzingis didn't play in that game. I think we took them +7.5 earlier this season. They end up going into Boston and winning that game outright, 118-112. They were getting 7 points in that game. Golden State, they matched up really well against the Boston Celtics overall. They've only covered one of the last 5 spreads that these two teams have played. And that's going all the way back to factor in every game outside of the 2022 NBA Finals. So, of course, the Celtics lost that finals to the Golden State Warriors. I think Golden State covered pretty much every single game in that series. But since then, Boston has struggled against the Golden State Warriors. I remember last year, Boston went into Golden State. They were a favorite, and they lost in overtime. And the next night, they played the Kings and rested guys and beat the Kings by like 50. I don't know if people remember. I vividly remember that because I was on the Kings in that spot because Boston was coming off the overtime game. They didn't care. But I say all that to say that I remember them beating Golden State. Boston, if we just look at what they've been doing recently, they've been extremely inconsistent. Another team, kind of like the Timberwolves, kind of like the Knicks, is kind of fluctuating back and forth. But off of loss, you typically want to back Boston. If you look at their last 10 games, they're alternating wins and losses throughout the last, I think it was 8 games. So they lost to the Hawks, beat Orlando by 30, by 27, lost to Toronto as 11.5, as a 14-point favorite, lost that game by 13, beat the Pelicans by just 1, lost to the Sacramento Kings and then beat Denver, lost to OKC, but beat Houston before. So, this is third game in 4 nights. It is the first game on the West Coast. Like I completely understand all that. I just look at Boston off a loss, and this has been a super profitable trend so far this season. Real quick, they are 9-3 against the numbers so far this season, winning by right at 19.9 points. So right at 20 points per game is what they're winning by when they're coming off a loss this season. Excuse me. They've actually covered 4 of their last 5. The only one they didn't cover was against the Pelicans. And I do think the Pelicans were, Pelicans are actually starting to play a lot better. We're not going to talk about them tonight, but the Pelicans are starting to get it together now that they're starting to get a little bit healthier. Even though Zion also listed as questionable, that's one of the reasons why I'm not talking about that game tonight. GLB Bets put something in the chat the other day about this game as well. It was something about, so when we were talking about the Celtics on, I think Justin said he was tailing them, if I remember correctly. We were talking about them against Orlando, and I said I can't lay 13.5 with the Celtics. It was something, I think it might have been like previous loss as a double-digit favorite. GLB Best, if you're still in the comment section, help me out real quick. It was something about previous loss as a favorite in the previous line, previous loss as like a double-digit favorite this season. Something like that. Previous loss as a favorite, double-digit favorite. I don't know. It's not popping up right now. Something about laying points as a double-digit favorite. They're not laying double digits in the spot, but I'm looking at just real quickly. If we get into the numbers, Golden State on the opposite side, another team that's been extremely inconsistent. They do got back-to-back wins against the Wizards. They didn't cover that 14, and against the Minnesota Timberwolves. They did go on the road and beat Minnesota, getting 7 points after losing to Toronto, and also lost to the Pacers as well. So just 4-6 against the number in their last 10 games, only 1-3 against the number in their last 4 games, and just 2-5 against the number in their last 7 games are the Golden State Warriors. I think Boston gets it together in this game. I think Porzingis should be able to get whatever it is that he wants. I think Boston, even if they struggle to shoot the 3, which they have been doing recently, they locked this Golden State Warriors offense up because Golden State really been struggling to score the basketball as of late. No Brzezinski, no Kuminga, no Draymond. I do think Boston is the right side. This line is one I think that is going to move as well. So I do see it looks like it's moving from 7 to 7.5, and I agree. I think it's going to be not that it's going to be easy because Golden State's going to always get up whenever they're a home dog, and I'll give you guys the trend on that in just a second. But I just worry. I don't think Golden State's going to be able to score the basketball tomorrow. I see a really locked in, good defensive effort from Boston in this spot. So as a home dog this season, Golden State is 3-2. It looks like against the spread. So they've been a home dog 5 times. At home in general, 10-9. Boston on the road is 8-10 against the spread, coming off a loss. I gave you guys that number 9-3. That's the strongest trend for them. What else? All right, so looking at Golden State offense, last 5 games, 19th in offensive efficiency, 22nd in effective field goal percentage. They're just not shooting the ball that well. Boston, even though they've been struggling to put it together consistently as far as wins, losses, they're still the 6th best defense over the last 5 games. So you like to see that. Defending the 3-point line well. They're 5th in an opponent above the break, an overall 3-point accuracy for their opponent, shooting just 33%. And Golden State, that's the only shot that they want to take. They're still chucking a bunch of threes. 2nd and above the break 3 frequency, 5th in the overall 3-point frequency in general. And let's just look a little bit deeper. So Golden State, Boston. Last 5 games, Golden State is 16th in offensive efficiency, 15th in defensive efficiency. So about middle of the pack in both. Playing pretty slow, 28th in pace. And they played the 4th easiest schedule over the last 5 games. Boston is some skewed results in here because Porzingis has played. Porzingis has not played in a couple of these games. They are about middle of the pack offensively. Well, actually on the bottom end, 21st in offensive efficiency, but still top 10 defensive efficiency. They're also playing slow, 24th in pace. And they played the 3rd easiest schedule over the last 5 games. So both of these teams been playing against some cupcakes in totality. I like Boston to bounce back tomorrow. I do think they're the right side. I do think this line opened at 5. If you were on the show when I did the morning show this morning, we were talking about. I said that the line opened at 5. I don't even know what book it was on, but what I was using to look at the lines, it was open on, and now it's up to 7.5. I think this is going to continue to move, in my opinion. 7s look like they're disappearing, so hopefully I can find me one. But I do think that Boston is the right side tomorrow. Let's see what you guys are thinking about this one, if any thoughts at all. That guy in the comments says Nick Richards double plus 210. Anthony Edwards over his 29.5 points. Trae Young to get 25. Durant to get 30 is plus 340 as a 4-way banger. Could be worth a little sprinkle if people like to put in parlays. Jimmy Best says he played over in this game. I think he's talking about this one. Celtics -5. Jacob always get the earlier lines. Always. Let's see. We talked about a couple player props, Christian. Couple player props. Celtics -7. Tatum revenge on Kerr. Oh, I forgot about that. But he had a chance to get revenge earlier this season, D-Bookie. It didn't work out too well. I do think off a loss and, with revenge, the Celtics are the right side in this one. Let's just real quick. Let's look at the Celtics when they're playing against teams that they've lost to this season. See if they bounce back in revenge spots. See if they take these serious or not. Celtics are, they're 3-1 straight up, 3-1 against the spread. The only one that they didn't win was the last one. That was actually 2 days ago against the Hawks. It's the first time, and that was the second leg of a back-to-back. The Hawks had 2 days of rest, which is the reason why I like the Hawks plus the 10.5 in that game. So yeah, they beat the Bulls by 25 in the revenge spot. They beat the Pacers by 37 in the revenge spot. They beat the Magic on Friday by 27 in the revenge spot as well. So when they win in these revenge spots, it's typically by margin. Only loss came against the Hawks the other day. So yeah, I like that you even made my mind think about that. Naeli says the Celtics are like win one, lose one, then win one, lose one. So they may win this one. No, I agree with that. JB Best says, yeah, we cashed Boston minus 12.5 2 days ago. Yep. Like it. Appreciate you for looking into that, JB Best. Vaughn says Boston doesn't seem to care to cover. It seems like they know they can turn it on when they need to. And that's a fact. They absolutely do. Teams after losing as double-digit favorites are 12-3 against the spread. That's what it was. I got it written down somewhere in my spreadsheet of trends, but I couldn't find it like actively. So that's what it is. So teams losing as a double-digit favorite are 12-3 against the number this season. So that's pretty simple to real quick. I'll even pull that up and let you guys see what that looks like. So we'll go over to we'll go over to Give Me the Dog. This is one of the sports data queries sites that you guys can utilize if you're ever interested in learning SDQL language. So this season, previous teams losing, so previous margin is greater than 10. Previous favorite. Losing as a double digit. So my fault. I messed this up. Yeah, it's not right. Previous margin, you lost by 10. Teams after losing as double digit favorites. So previous loss as a favorite and previous line is greater than equal to 10. There we go. So Killer Sports might have a tad bit different, but here you guys can see right here, teams that previously lost as a favorite, now they're laying double digits. I'm sorry, they were laying double digits and they lost outright. 13-4 against the number. They're cashing about 76.5%. That's probably why this line is moving. You can also see right here, the win margin is about 15.5 points. Well, it's actually right above my face, so you can't see that. Hold on. So yeah, that's how you utilize Give Me the Dog if people are interested in looking at that ever. All right, let's go back to the comments really quickly. Jaylen Brown fell on his face, man. I hope he okay. I thought he had a concussion. Fernando likes Curry over his points. Stacy says Cade been under for me. What you plan on him? I'm not playing Cade, but if I had to play Cade, we talked about under on his assists. Appreciate you, JLB Bets. Appreciate you, bro. Just looked at that. And I think, let's see, was this the last game? I am looking at the Celtics tomorrow. This is the last one. That I'm gonna go through tonight. So if you joined late, you can go back. I did kind of break down a lot of these games, 5 of them in totality for tomorrow. Just trying to help people out, if you like what you're hearing, or trying to, help you get to it before the lines start to move too much. This is one that is actually moving while the show is going on. So real quick recap, not Bulls Clippers. We're not going through that. Real quick recap. It'll be 3 games left for tomorrow, and that Clippers line is actually getting shorter, and it's probably because Kawhi's not going to play. I'm pretty sure the books probably factored that in, but Kawhi, I already had that in my mind. Kawhi's not going to play on the second leg of the back-to-back, so he won't play. The Clippers will be without him. But the Chicago Bulls also got to travel from Portland as well. So and that total is coming down a lot, which I thought that total was too high anyway. I had in my notes at 234. It's down to 228.5. That's probably the move because the Chicago Bulls continue to shoot the ball like they shot it tonight. I mean, they scored 102 points against Portland. The Clippers are a lot better defensively. So that total is probably going to continue to move. I would be looking at under 229. Especially if the Clippers going to dictate pace. But I got to look a little deeper into that game. Probably, I'm not playing no Bulls game anyway. Bulls free diet for myself. Boston, let me just double check it real quick before I even put it on the screen and see if there is still any sevens available or if this is moved to 7.5. Yeah, all 7.5s. Sevens are gone. I probably should have played it already. 7.5. It's available on Caesars right now. No juice. Probably gonna play it. Did not lock it in yet, but I'll be on Boston tomorrow on the bounce back. The other things that we talked about really quickly. Phoenix, I locked in already. The play that I wanted to send to you guys tonight. I'm not sure if the line's gonna move or not overnight, but I played the +8. Do like Memphis a lot, so I'll add them on here as well. Minus the 3.5. And I'll add Atlanta because I'm not looking towards New York, but I'm not going to play Atlanta until we get the injury report for tomorrow. And yeah, we'll have 3 games to go through tomorrow. And maybe a couple player props as well. Maybe some more player props. But yeah, I like all of these looks here. The Jalen Green over his points, the one that stood out the most. Somebody mentioned in the chat that that double for Nick Richards. Boy, I love that. Let me just see where I can get the best odds for Nick Richards double tomorrow. Give it to y'all as well. You can get a +225 on Bet365. And just because I'm thinking out loud, I know Drop a Dime says this all the time. If you go in and build out the double on Bet365, you probably can get even better than a +225. It's only +195 on DraftKings. But if you got access to Bet365, you can get a Nick Richards double at +225. I absolutely love that. Love that. We'll go through this game tomorrow. Mavs game will be tomorrow. So yeah, I hope this was helpful for you guys, man. Kind of, doing a night show. Been on here for a little over an hour. I've utilized all these resources that you guys see on this screen throughout this show. Kind of showed you guys how I use all of them to handicap the sports and just how they can be useful for you guys. So check out the link in the description for the referral codes for all of these to save yourself some money if you're interested in getting some sports betting research tools. And like I mentioned, shoot me an email if you want access to the Discord as well. It is free. We just a bunch of people trying to cash some tickets, man, trying to run it up. Y'all have a good night. I will be back tomorrow. Probably, I'm thinking around 10 because it'll be a quicker show tomorrow. We'll be around about 10. Then I'll be on with Cal as well at about 11, man. So enjoy the night, man. Y'all get some sleep, get some rest, and I'll talk to you guys tomorrow morning, man. I'm out.